We all know how much I love to assign gender roles to inanimate objects, but as so much of paganism is symbolic, I think it's okay. Paganism is inherently androgynous. Now, androgynous isn't synonymous with non-binary all the time, but it can be used as a non-binary identity on its own or to help describe other non-binary identities. That is not what this video is about, but I feel like it's a good word to bring up. And why are we now blue? Okay, it was either be blinded or be blue. I chose be blue. The word androgynous comes from andro, meaning man, masculine, male, and gyne, which means woman, femininity, or female. Whichever terminology you really want to use. Linguistics nerds don't come for me. But that's basically what it means. It is a mix of masculine and feminine. And that is kind of what paganism is. It's what we use in our spellwork, in our rituals. It is ever present throughout our practice. Generally, ritual and spellwork encompasses both masculine and feminine symbolism. I can't speak today, I apologise. For example, casting a circle with an athame. The athame is a masculine representing tool, and then pouring libations into a chalice is a feminine representing tool. Typically during a ritual you would probably use both of these, depending what you were doing, but it would be quite common to use both of these. So you have a mix of masculine and feminine. Here we're using gender as mere symbolism. Neither of these tools have an actual gender because they are not living, and that isn't how gender works. They're just representing something. Some rituals might require a more masculine approach, and some might require a more feminine approach, but generally you need a healthy balance of both. Not to suggest that there are only two, but a lot of paganism does speak in a binary. That's why I'm making this video. A balance of masculine and feminine representation is generally what you need in ritual and spellwork or any sort of pagan practice. Please insert your own terminology to these things as needed. I'm not going to list them all every time I say them, but you know. For me personally, I view gender in the craft as descriptive. So we have these energies around us and we need a way to categorise them so we can properly use them in our space, in our practice, in whatever we are trying to do. Gender has been added to personify it somewhat, and plenty of energy exists that isn't just masculine or feminine. Was the description of energy as gender based on stereotypes? Possibly, but neither is portrayed as stronger or weaker or better or worse. In fact, they are both portrayed as incredibly powerful, just in different ways. Much like how the water of a river can carve through rock, but so can a drill. They are different. Furthermore, magic is all about intent. If you will it, so mote it be. If I want my athame to represent femininity, so mote it be. I think I mentioned it in my first video on this topic, Ritual, the Tool of the Pagan and the Scientist. I will put that up there, I think it's quite an interesting one. I mentioned in that video that magic doesn't have to be textbook. There is a lot of improvising, especially when I am the one doing the work, because I just don't have the money for all of these things. Magic doesn't have to be having many different things for each specific intent and purpose. Although tell that to my crystal collection. Magic is multi-purpose. Magic can be done with something as simple as a visualization. And even then it doesn't have to be the same visualization that everybody else might be doing. Whatever feels right to you is basically how the craft should work. If something feels right but deviates from what you've read about, what you've been told, what other people that you know are doing, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily wrong. Difference can be a good thing. It's not as rigid as all of those TV shows make it out to be, where you mispronounce one word in a Latin spell and the whole spell comes crashing down on you and backfires and you're in pain and need to be rescued by bigger witches. That isn't how it works. So long as your intent is good, nothing bad will happen to you. Because that just isn't how magic works. So if your representation of something differs from someone else, it's the intent that matters. Gendered magic can even be used to empower trans and non-binary witches, or pagans. Again, insert your own terminology here. We can play with the magical gender roles in any way we like. We can lean on more masculine things if that's how we feel, compared to what our bodies might have been assigned at birth or how the world sees us. We go on how we feel, and vice versa for femininity, or you could completely switch it up completely. Again, it's not rigid. Do what you will and it harm none. Or we can completely sack gender off and visualise our magic in a completely different way. For me, I don't think the name masculine for this energy and feminine for this energy really matters. They are as different as day and night, and even day and night aren't a strict binary. You can see the sun and the moon in the same sky, and eclipses exist. For me, gendered magic could have easily been described as wet and dry energies, with some energy maybe being damp, or solar and lunar, with scope for dusk, dawn, and eclipses. Gender in paganism isn't about designating certain characteristics and energies into specific people. It's not about saying the moon is feminine, so only the females in our group can draw down the moon. It's not saying Canonis is male, so only the men in the group can call on him for help. It isn't about that. It's about everybody harnessing all of it, unlimited by the symbolism that we've put on it, so that we can achieve balance and harmony in whatever practical work we might be doing. And remember, if it harm none, do what you will. If you enjoyed that, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment down below with your thoughts, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a new video. Videos go up every Saturday at 6 PM UK time, with at least one bonus video every single month. Shit, I forgot my own outro. It's one of those days. See ya!